Okay guys, today we're tackling Lateralis. This is going to be my album review of this iconic album, but also a review of the vinyl packaging and the CD packaging for all you collectors out there, or someone that just wants to be able to grab these guys, and the prices of them, the quality, how I think you should listen to the album, how you should get the album, or if you should even purchase the album or save it for Spotify. Thank you for supporting and watching this video, and I hope I can help you. As you can see here, we have the two of them. I'm sure that there's been multiple different versions of these guys released both on vinyl and CD over the years, but these are the two standalone copies that we have. This one, the vinyl, and the CD here. You can't really see the CD very well. I will of course show you a little more. The one that I have had this little package that went over it, which of course has their logo and the name, and then you can't see it very well. But there's the track listing and a lot of other little details. This of course just goes over the CD to protect it, but it also adds for a cool little piece of just tool collectible, if you will. And there of course it has all the credits on here as well, but you can also find those online as well. And the vinyl, as you can probably tell, the vinyl cover is not the same as the original album cover art, which of course when many people think of this album, they immediately think of this right here. I can try and show you without the reflection getting in the way. This specific album art is indeed in this vinyl, but it is on the vinyl, not on the packaging of the actual casing for it. So nonetheless, still really cool. There's some very interesting things to look at about this vinyl. First though, we will go ahead and tackle the CD. So I'm just going to set this guy over here for right now. Little context on this album: it is probably my favorite Tool album. This one, Enema, I sometimes go back and forth on. Out of all the Tool albums, this one definitely has the best flow, and just every song is its own journey, which I get is a lot of Tool songs, but I think it flows the best throughout this album. It was of course released in 2001. Here's a good look at the CD, and there's a good look at the back. This is somewhat hard to see in this because of all the light that I have, but I just want y'all to be able to actually see it as well. So taking out the printed inner sleeve, we have, there you go, that's a little easier for y'all to see, and then by opening it, you can get the first clear photo. As I said, all these photos are also on the vinyl, but as you keep flipping through, you go deeper and deeper into the human anatomy, with of course the eye spirals across, which is our main point on the vinyl release, until you get all the way to the final stage, which is just kind of the organs, the brain, everything like that. You'll see this a lot more clearly in the vinyl. The CD is going to be a little hard for y'all to see, but you know, I don't want to give everything away fully. If you actually do end up purchasing the CD, you'll get to see all the cool things about it as well. By removing the CD, you can't really see it, but there's some cool patterns that are also reflected on the back of the album. Nothing too special or exciting. It is a CD, but it has some really good art with it, and you gotta appreciate that. And then of course, as I mentioned at the top of the program, you can put this guy in here, and then you have your full packaged Lateralis CD. I will say this is definitely a lot of fun to have for Amazon. This goes for about $10–15. Somewhere you may be able to find it cheaper. If you want to find this brand new, it may be up to around $20, but just in the $10 to $15 range. I would definitely say it would be worth the money considering the length of tracks you have and the cool packaging, especially if you're a really diehard fan of the band. This is definitely something to pick up, but let's go ahead and move on to the vinyl real quickly. This is the vinyl right here. Of course, I know some Tool fans out there will know more about this cover art than me. On the back here, it says copyright 2000, which of course I know that this was originally released in 2001. So I need some Tool fans. I haven't done my research with this. I'm just kind of reviewing it. I'm sure that means something. Maybe this specific cover art was only released in 2000. Maybe this is a specific version. Not entirely sure. All I know is that I bought this album not in 2000 because I was not alive. I was about -7 years at the time. But nonetheless, it is a really cool packaging, and you can't really see it super well from the camera, but the cool thing about these eyes is that when put in certain light, they have these really cool reflections on here, which of course is really cool considering there's a song called Reflection on the record. And it's more cooler when you kind of look at it like I am right now. You can't see it, but when me and I look at these eyes right here, there's some cool rainbow just colors going off. It's a really cool packaging, and in case you thought the inside was going to be interesting, well, it definitely is, but it's nothing special there. You can kind of see it if I move it a little bit. Maybe you just got a bunch more eye spirals going on here. Same on the front, and of course same on the back. Of course, you got the barcode down there, but it makes for a really, really cool looking just artwork, and I think it's very awesome. It's not as cool as the CD artwork, but of course, as I said, that artwork we get in the vinyl as well. The outside packaging for this is extremely firm. It's very solid packaging and cardboard, or not cardboard, whatever formula material they use to package this specific vinyl. It's very, very firm, and which is good. You know, you want that when you have a vinyl. When we take out the first sleeve, we do have printed inner sleeve, which is definitely a plus for me. One only complaint I would have about this vinyl is that the printed inner sleeves, these guys right here, they're not the most firm printed inner sleeves ever. They kind of tear really easily. They're a little flimsy, as you can see. Like, they're not extremely like firm and solid, and I just feel that kind of like for how amazing the exterior packaging was, they could have gone to the length to make the interior great. I mean, the artwork and everything is great. We have the track listing and the credits just like on the CD black part here, except it's on the inside. However, as I said, it's just a little flimsy, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it could have been a little better. Nonetheless, though, the vinyl is extremely cool. This is our first side here. There's that first part of the human anatomy. It makes for an extremely cool vinyl. I know that the vinyl immediately looks black, but it is actually kind of an extremely dark gray when you get it in the full sunlight. I don't know if you can kind of see it. It's not going to look black, but it is an extremely kind of dark gray, and it makes for a really, really cool spin when you have it. This, of course, has 2 songs on it. Well, 2 full-length songs, not counting the little guys in between. Very, very cool. And this is by far my favorite side here. Just because it has the spiral and it just has the coolest shape, as you can see, just reminiscent to how the CD was displayed. Very, very cool. Love this side of these 2 sides, of course, are great, having some of their best songs on here. And then the other side is no different, except of course it has different artwork on the vinyl. But other than that, you get the same thing. There's the printed inner sleeve, and you take it out, and here's our first bit of artwork. This one's also is really, really cool. Has Ticks and Leeches and the title track on this side, so that's also really cool. And this side is also really cool. It has Reflection on it, which is one of my favorite Tool songs. I think it's very underrated. Very nice vinyls for sure. They're not super heavy, but that's okay. The artwork pays off for it, and it definitely looks really, really good. My only complaint, as I said from the start of this, is just that I really do not like the printed inner sleeves, and I think that they're a little too weak and flimsy, and it somewhat brings the quality overall of the whole packaging down for me a little bit. I don't want to compare, of course, because I know Tool does amazing with their artwork, but if you compare this to like Iron Maiden's sort of latter day releases with these bigger albums, they have, you know, great artwork, and then the printed inner sleeves, or just the inner sleeves in general, but they are always printed inner sleeves, are really firm, really strong, and really hold the vinyls together really, really well. And this was not, in my opinion, as done as well, and I just think over time the printed inner sleeves are going to wear a little bit. But this outside packaging is fantastic. There's a look at the spine, nothing too spectacular about it. And yeah, so what do I think about this? I bought this guy for $50, which is a little expensive, yes, but it is double LP, and it is really cool artwork. Is it worth $50? I would say so. To get this for like $30 would be an absolute steal. It is a double vinyl. It's not a super heavy vinyl, but it is a double vinyl, so I can totally see $50 being realistic here. I do definitely think you could have gotten a little more, but it doesn't necessarily bring the album down per se. Would I rather get the vinyl or the CD? To me, it really will depend. If you're just trying to get into Tool and you want to listen to Tool, I would of course recommend to listen to some of their more popular songs before you kind of jump into like their albums per se. But if you have a record player, I would definitely recommend to grab the vinyl first. The experience of just listening to each side and hearing the different songs is really enjoyable and a lot of fun. You can take a lot out of these records, and I just love this album all the way through, and it's an amazing listening experience on vinyl. I always listen to it on vinyl, but if you don't like vinyl and if you have a CD player, definitely would recommend picking it up. As I said, the album flows through very well together. You never really feel like this is not like there's just these random skips or anything. Of course, it's Tool, so you're gonna have weird progressions, but it does flow very well, and there's some classic songs on here. Definitely would recommend this album for any new fans of the band. This one and Enema, of course, all the releases have been great. but this one to me just has some of the most iconic and most mathematical elements of Tool that you're going to find on any release. And I like to compare this one to Fear Inoculum, because while Fear Inoculum is good, it's very long, has a lot of drawn out songs, and this one is not as long and has just more interesting concepts to it. And I just find it to be very enjoyable. Even if you're not into heavy metal or whatever, I would recommend listening to this. This is a great album to sort of get into Tool, but also explore some more progressive music, some more interesting music. This, of course, has some of their most iconic songs ever, The Grudge, Schism, being kind of probably the most two popular ones. But I've always loved The Patient, and as I said, I love Reflection. And Ticks and Leeches is one of the coolest songs by the band for sure. And there's, of course, tons of other classic stuff on here as well. But at the end of the day, which one would you rather have, the vinyl or the CD? Well, I, of course, would rather say vinyl. I'm mostly going to tell you guys vinyl whenever you're buying stuff, because I love vinyl and I think it's more fun. But if you were to listen to this just on your phone too, that's a lot of fun as well, and I definitely would recommend. So overall, what would I rate this album out of 1 out of 10? I would probably rate this album honestly, I want to say a 10, but for this sake, I'm going to go with about a 9. I don't know if it's my favorite Tool album. It definitely comes close. The one that came before it, I think maybe my favorite album by them, but at the end of the day, I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to do a Tool album ranking one day. But there you have it, guys. These are how you can get these albums just by themselves. Of course, there's probably different versions, as I said, but just whenever you look it up online, these are the two that you're going to find most often, and or you go to the store or whatever. So definitely check out Lateralis if you have not. It's an amazing release. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see y'all next time. Love you guys. God bless.